Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Startup Standouts. I am your host, Samantha White, and I am here today with Sawyer Hazel, who is one of our Kids Market participants. She operates out of Atlanta, Georgia markets. How are you doing today, Sawyer?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you. So you've been coming to the markets for a little bit now, right? Like, how long have you been coming to markets?
I have been doing markets for 3 years now.
That's awesome. And so how old were you when you first started then?
Well, I haven't even thought about that. I was, I think, 9 or 8.
Okay, so you're about 11 now, right?
Yeah, I am 11.
And how often do you actually go to the markets?
I would say I go to markets like 15 to 20 times a year.
Oh, wow. So you're a really active
Yeah,
participant, and that's awesome. You have an interesting story
yeah.
with your business where you started out with one business and then you transitioned kind of to another one. Can you share a little bit about that with us?
I used to sell bracelets and I was selling them during the Eras tour. And that's when a lot of people were buying bracelets so they could exchange them at the concerts. And after that, stopped, concerts weren't going on anymore. I saw that these girls who were crocheting, they were doing a great job and they really, really sold well. So I thought I should give this a shot. So I tried one of the Woobles kits and I actually had to stop for a little bit because I got frustrated. So I came back about a month later and I did really good on my first Wooble.
So you weren't a crocheter before you
Yeah.
learned it for the markets, or was it for the markets, or was it something that interested you and you tried it and then you transitioned to the
Well, it did
markets?
really interest me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So the name of the business was the Bead Borough, and you've kept that name
Yeah.
consistently, right? And you are a 2024 scholarship winner. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yes. So I want to know, how much did you win? What was that process like? And then what did you do with your earnings, with your winnings?
So I won $750 and I got myself a tent and some tablecloths and more things to produce products for my business.
That's awesome.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I won. Yes.
I love that. What was that experience like? Were you expecting to win?
Not really. I was like, there's so many other people who have really great businesses. And I'm like, whoa, it's so crazy.
Did you see like the new tablecloth and the tent? Did that really help boost up your business, would you say? Like did that help you go to the next level?
Yeah, because I was sharing a tent with my brothers at the time because we only had one and our other one broke. So now I have a tent. So that's really nice.
That's great. So you got your own actual booth for your business alone.
Yeah.
That's really cool. I love that. So you've had the two different businesses. You've had and you started it when you were younger. You said 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was like making that first sale with the friendship bracelets, and then what it was like making the first sale? Because I would imagine, were you kind of nervous transitioning to the crochet business?
I was a little bit nervous because it was a whole new thing for me. I didn't know if it was going to sell. There were other people when I first started to sell crochet that were also selling. So I thought they would go over there too. And they did. They got something from me and them, and it was really nice.
That's really cool. And when you if you go back to that first market that you ever did and you sold your first friendship bracelet, what was that like?
It was awesome. So it's actually funny because I sold 2 at my first sale. It was for a mom and her little girl, a toddler, and I didn't have one in her size, so she asked me if I could make her toddler a bracelet. So I made them both a matching set because I have beads at the market. And they walked away so happy, and she was just skipping with her mom.
Oh, that's
Their little
adorable.
pigtails.
I love that. So is that something that you do then? You make the bracelets or back when you did the
Yeah.
bracelets? Okay, nice. You touched on it a little bit with the reason that you had to transition. People weren't buying the friendship bracelets as much.
Yeah.
What were some of your earliest challenges, and how does that compare to the challenges that you're dealing with right now?
The challenges with the bracelets was sometimes they wouldn't sell for, like, markets. So I made a little clearance tray where I would put the ones that weren't selling as well, and I made those $3. My usual prices are $8, so people really started to buy them.
Very nice. And what are some of the challenges that you're facing, at this current stage?
There's really no challenges. I can't really think of any.
Oh,
It's
that's
really
very nice.
nice.
That's great. What would you say are some of your greatest accomplishments, and what are you most proud of in your growth of this business?
Well, getting the scholarship, and I made this big dragon, Toothless from How to Train Your Dragon. That sold, and I was so happy about it. He was like his head was bigger than my head.
How long did that take you to make? 'Cause I saw pictures of that. How long did that take to crochet?
Well, I was doing activities while I was making it, so it took me about 3 days, but I also made another one, the Light Fury, and that only took me 1 day.
Oh, was it a smaller one, or did you
It
had
was
you
the same
just
size, I just had more time and I could really work on it.
Okay, gotcha. And when you're preparing for a market, you're behind the scenes, you're at home. What does it look like to, get the product ready, pack the car? What does preparing for a market look like for you?
So when I'm just crocheting, I crochet on the way to like jujitsu, on the way back. In school, if I have some time, I already did all my work. Mom's reading the book. And I also do it just a lot on the weekends. When it's time to pack up for the market, we put like the tables in first and then the tent and then all the product stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much how it goes. I always ask Jackson to help me. He's my brother because he's 14 and he's really strong. Some things are heavy.
And what does it look like, in terms of preparing the product? Like, do you have okay, these because I see a lot of when I go to the markets, I'll see a lot of kids with little frogs. I'm a big sucker for frogs.
The little
Um,
leggy frogs.
yeah, the little leggy frogs, or like I bought a little round frog that came with a keychain once,
Aw.
and the chickens that sit in your hand. I love chickens too.
Yeah, I
Do you
have a
have like best sellers that you make sure that you make a lot of, and then you have the big ticket items like the Light Fury and the Night Fury?
yeah, so I actually have some right here.
Oh, let's
So
see 'em.
these sell really well because these are $8 and little kids buy them because they don't have as much money and they're really cute still.
Those are adorable. I love that. I love that red color too. That's so pretty.
And one of my more expensive items is a turtle, and I
Very
really like
nice.
the eyes.
I was gonna say, how do you have to sew those eyes in?
So it's actually unexpected for people that don't really make stuffed animals. So you put in the eyes where you want them, and there's this little backing that goes on it. So you pinch them together and it stays in place.
Okay.
It's
Like
like a
after you
circle with a
crochet.
hole in it.
Okay. And when you're going to the markets, if you think back to maybe back when you were just starting with the Bead Bureau and had the friendship bracelets, or maybe when you were transitioning to the crochet items, was there a moment where you were like, "Hey, wait a minute! Like I can do this. I'm doing this. I'm making money. I'm selling." Do you remember like having that moment?
So it really didn't happen with the friendship bracelets because there's not as much skill that goes into those. It can be tedious to like have to make a pattern with them. But once I learned how to crochet, I was like, oh my God, I can do this. Yes.
That's awesome because that's yeah, you make a good point that that's a little bit more of an involved
Yeah,
skill, and it seems to be making a bit of a comeback in the younger generation where people
yeah.
are really wanting to learn to crochet more, which I think is really cool. Do you have a favorite memory of being at the markets?
I don't really know. It kind of takes a second to think of something.
That's okay. That's fine.
Probably that first sale. It was so funny. The little
The with
girl
the
with
little
the
girl.
pigtails.
That is so cute. And what is one of your best ways that you get people to actually stop at your booth, look at your product? Have you had to experiment with that at all? Different signage or different marketing tactics to get people to stop in?
So what I do is I like to use bright, fun colors to really draw people in because with little kids, that's who really likes to come in and look at all the stuffed animals. And I really love to see them like "Mommy, look at this, look at this. Ah, it's so cute."
So do you mostly target then the younger kids is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
It's
then maybe
also
grandparents with grandkids sometimes?
yeah, that's a big seller too. What really sells, like, the people who really buy stuff is dads with their little kids, like, their daughters.
Oh, that's adorable.
Like,
I
they
love
turn on
that.
the charm like, "Daddy, can I get this?" Just looking up at a 90-degree angle.
I love that. When you went to the markets, obviously you have your own booth, but do you remember, like, other kids' booths? Was there any other booth that you saw that you're like, "Wow, that's, like, really a really cool idea?"
So, the first market I went to wasn't a kids market, but I didn't really see any kids there. There were really good vendors there too. But the first time I came to a kids market, I was like, "Oh my god, more kids like me." I'm so happy.
That is really cool to have that kind of community and know that you're all in it together. That's a really big part of it, I bet. As we wrap up here, do you have any advice to other young entrepreneurs who might want to get started either with a business at home or come into a kids market, specifically a kids market? What would you tell someone who's just getting started?
So, I would say maybe start with something that you really, really like. Because if you lose interest in it, you might not produce as much. That's what kind of started to happen with the bracelets too. And I would also recommend like asking your mom and dad about attending markets and yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Very nice. Where can we find you? Obviously, the kids markets, because
Yeah.
you said you go to 15 a year. But are there any places online that you would like to direct people to?
Instagram, the Bead Borough, maybe Facebook. I don't really know. My mom really takes care of it. And I will be in Atlanta, Georgia for markets.
Perfect. And what is next for you, Sawyer? There's the markets, but what's beyond the markets? Do you think you'll be a long-term entrepreneur, or what are some of your goals?
I'm hoping to get my products in a store again because I used to have them in a store. It shut down though because they weren't making enough money. So I'm really hoping I find some place where I can put my products.
That's awesome. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciate
Thank
hearing your
you.
story. Thank you all for tuning in. We will see you all in the next episode. Thanks so much.
Bye.